I can still hear the rhythmic ticking of that clock from that night, each second carving into my chest like a dull blade. 24 years of marriage behind me, yet I paced the living room like a stranger in my own home. The dining table sat untouched, candles unlit, while the roast chicken I had prepared hours earlier had gone cold. Diane, my wife, had said she was meeting her friends. But after so many years together, I knew her patterns, her tone, her eyes, the subtle tells that spoke louder than words. And that night, her eyes gave her away. She wasn't going out with the girls. She was meeting someone else. And I decided I wouldn't spend another 24 years pretending I didn't already know the truth. It started quietly, as betrayals often do, small changes that grow into something unmistakable. Diane began guarding her phone like a secret extension of herself. She dressed differently, took extra time before the mirror for even the simplest errands. She'd laugh softly at text messages, but never shared what was so funny. Sometimes, she carried a faint trace of cologne, not mine. At first, I brushed it off as paranoia. After all, we had been through so much, raised 2 children, bought our home, grieved her mother's passing, and celebrated anniversaries I believed meant something. Who betrays a partner after surviving so much together? Then came the lie. She said she had a girls' night planned, but slipped into a black dress I hadn't seen in years. It hugged her in a way that spoke more of seduction than comfort. She painted her lips, wore perfume, high heels, the kind of effort she hadn't made for me in ages. My stomach turned. I knew she wasn't meeting friends. I could have confronted her, demanded answers, shouted, begged. But something inside me hardened instead. I thought about all I had sacrificed, the extra shifts to pay off the mortgage, the vacations we skipped so she could care for her mother, the dreams I buried for the sake of our family. She didn't deserve another argument. She deserved consequence. So while she walked out the door with a smile meant for someone else, I reached for my phone and made a call. My attorney, the one I'd quietly consulted earlier that week when suspicion became certainty, picked up immediately. "Tonight," I said. "Send the process server tonight." The hours that followed dragged on mercilessly. I sat beneath the dim light of the living room, eyes locked on the wedding photo on the mantel. In that picture, we were young, her in lace, me in a suit too big for my shoulders. Both of us glowing with the promise of forever. I whispered to that photograph, "What happened to us, Diane? What happened to forever?" Every creak of the floorboards reminded me that she was out there, with someone else. Laughing, whispering, maybe even kissing lips that once promised loyalty only to me. Then came the sound of tires on the driveway. She stepped inside, cheeks flushed, a faint hint of alcohol on her breath. Her eyes sparkled, a light I hadn't seen aimed at me in years. She froze when she saw me sitting there, still in my work clothes, fists clenched. "Tom," she stammered. "You're still up?" "Yeah," I said flatly. "I was waiting." She hesitated, placing her purse down. "Listen, A knock on the door cut her off. Diane frowned as I stood to open it. A man in a suit waited, holding a sealed envelope. "Mrs. Diane Walker?" he asked. "Yes," she replied automatically. He handed her the envelope. "You've been served." Her face drained of color as she clutched the papers, eyes darting between him and me. He gave a curt nod and left. "Divorce papers," I said, my voice trembling with equal parts anger and heartbreak. I knew. Her lips parted, but no words came. Finally, she whispered, "Tom, wait. It's not what you think. Not what I think." I snapped, rising to my feet. "You spent tonight with another man after 24 years, Diane. 24 years. Tears welled in her eyes, though I couldn't tell if it was guilt or fear of losing everything. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she stammered. "I just felt something missing. You've been so distant, so focused on work." I laughed bitterly. Distant? I worked myself into exhaustion for us. Every late night, every extra shift, all for this house, for our kids, for you. And you thanked me by running into another man's arms. She flinched. "I didn't plan it. It just happened." "That's every cheater's excuse," I said coldly. "You didn't plan it, but you didn't stop it either." She sank onto the couch, trembling as she held the papers. "Do you really want to throw away everything we've built? 24 years, Tom. Our family, our memories." "Don't talk to me about family." I cut her off sharply. "You destroyed that when you chose him over me. You made your choice tonight, and I made mine." Her tears fell freely, but I felt nothing. Only emptiness. Flashes of our life together crossed my mind. Holding her as she cried over her mother's death, the day our son was born, the laughter we shared over burnt dinners and broken appliances. But every memory now felt poisoned. I was never enough for her. Finally, I said quietly, "I'll sleep in the guest room tonight. Tomorrow, you can start packing." She looked up, eyes pleading. "Tom, please. I still love you." I paused at the doorway, back turned to her. "No, Diane. You don't love me. You love the comfort of me being here while you chase someone else. That's not love. That's convenience." With that, I walked away, leaving her sobbing on the couch. The following weeks blurred together, lawyers, documents, hushed conversations with our children. My daughter cried when she found out, blaming herself. My son clenched his fists, silent and furious, barely speaking to his mother. Diane begged for another chance, but the process had begun, and my resolve only grew stronger every time I remembered her walking back into our home that night, glowing with another man's attention. The final moment came in court. We sat across from each other, Diane pale, her eyes swollen from endless tears. I thought I might feel pity, but there was only emptiness. When it was over, she whispered, "I never thought it would end like this." I looked at the woman I once believed would stand beside me forever. "Neither did I said softly. "But you made sure it did." She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. That was the last time we spoke. Months passed. The house feels emptier, but lighter. Sometimes I still set 2 plates at dinner out of habit. Occasionally, I catch the scent of her perfume on a pillow. But the silence doesn't suffocate anymore. It feels like healing. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart, it reshapes you. It forces you to confront who you are without the person you thought you couldn't live without. That night, Diane went on her Friday date, and I sent her a process server. It was the hardest decision of my life, but also the one that saved me. Because in the end, it wasn't just about her infidelity. It was about reclaiming my dignity, my peace, and the years I refused to let her steal from me. And that, I realized, was worth far more than 24 years of lies.